Hey everyone, so we've all likely heard about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's victory in the New York primary. She is a self-described democratic socialist, and this is her campaign platform. It should not be too much of a shock that this is chock full of promises of free services to people. One thing to always keep in mind is that these actually won't be free. It's almost a cliche thing for libertarians to say at this point, but it's only become cliche because we have to keep repeating it as it seems to go in one ear and out the other when it comes to those who support a huge government capable of delivering these supposedly free services. They just never seem to understand what the word free actually means, but they know they can score political points with the word, so they throw it around anyway. Always keep in mind that although people like Cortez offer these supposedly free services with the smiling face, there is always the promise of violence to be visited on you if you do not comply with the forced funding of these programs, which number one proves that it is not free. In fact, not only is it not free for many people, it's not even a voluntary exchange where you give one thing up to acquire another thing you think will make you better off. You know, voluntary trade. It does not even have that level of virtue or appeal. It's simply give us money or else. Now, I just want to point out a couple other things. Cortez wants an America that benefits all and not just the wealthy, and she wants to curb Wall Street gambling. Okay, noble cause that I am perfectly fine with, but no mention of the Federal Reserve? It's not on her platform, and I've watched several interviews with her so far. I have not heard her mention it once. Now, obviously, if she ends up winning, there isn't much she can single-handedly do about the Federal Reserve. I recognize that. But I cannot take anyone seriously if you are talking about these issues without mentioning the Federal Reserve, the manipulation of interest rates, the expansion of the monetary base, or the QE, which was basically a nice big handout to Wall Street. All of these things are the root cause of the more malevolent wealth disparity, right? Not all wealth disparity is created equally. If you make an awesome business and you become rich because all of society wants what you're offering, there is no reason that that wealth should be taken away. That is not unfair in any reasonable sense. But if you're going to court the government and utilize the Federal Reserve System to enrich yourself, that I would agree would be unfair. She makes no distinction, nor, as I said before, does she even mention the Federal Reserve. If you can't mention the Federal Reserve, or you don't know enough to talk about it, then out with you. You're not worth the platform you run on. Okay, so next up, how about the federal jobs guarantee? This is the same thing Bernie Sanders came out in support for. This will kill small, medium, and large private businesses that don't have a substantially large profit margin. They will not be able to compete in the labor market, not because the government is competitive in any way, but because the government can always just go deeper into debt, or they can just reach further into your pockets. Whereas private businesses actually have to offer something to your subjective tastes, and if enough people in society like what they have to offer, the business will experience success. Government does not have to worry about that. So what happens when all these businesses begin to fail? Well, first of all, the cost of these government programs will skyrocket as more and more people will need the service since their jobs were killed by this government action. And even more tragic, those businesses with high enough profit margins that they will survive this government meddling, guess what? They will be the only ones around now. Demand for that business's specific services or products will skyrocket and competition will decline. You may see an economy of industries looking more monopolistic. Ironically, that's what statists like to erroneously criticize free markets of ending up as, yet they would bring us there quicker than any liberty-minded philosophy ever would. So anyway, finally, I just want to bring this up. The rhetoric of Cortez and Sanders and all the rest remind me of this quote from Thomas Sowell. He says, "The strongest argument for socialism is that it sounds good. The strongest argument against socialism is that it doesn't work. But those who live by words will always have a soft spot in their hearts for socialism because it sounds so good." I think this hits the nail on the head. They can third free around all day, but they are doing nothing but playing off of people's economic ignorance. The day socialism begins to die will be the same day that people educate themselves on the free market and begin to understand that the best way to allocate resources is through voluntary transactions free from violence, coercion, and the heavy, hurtful hand of the state. In fact, the evidence is well within the violence of the state, because the fact that they need to use violence means that they are doing something that a free person would otherwise not want done, or at the very least would want it done in a much different, cost-effective, high-quality way. But that's all for now. I'm leaving for about a week or so I will be back then. In the meantime, take it easy. Bye.